Okay, so how do we actually figure out what line do they need to cut? How do we plan to cut? And if the question has asked us something like this, then what helps us understand that? Now, what you have to keep in mind is no matter the product, so let's say this is the product, or let's say that's the product, or this is the product. I have two more, I can share those as well with you. How do you figure out where you need to cut? Now, if you look at the arrow over here, so if you read the question, let's look at this question. The model of the gym weight is shown below. Complete the sectional view A to A, which means A to A, through the model of the gym weight. So how do I figure out what do I need to cut? Now, do I cut it as per this plane? Okay, so if we go back to our planes, the three planes, and we look at this A to A, does that mean I chop it like this? Does that mean I chop it like that? Or does that mean I chop it like this? These are things that you have to keep in mind. Now, as per the question, they are basically saying that that center line that they have drawn is what you need to cut at. However, what do you need to do is denoted by the arrow, which means that if I look at the arrow, it says move this way, right? That means the frontal half needs to be moved away so that you can figure out what happens to that side. Which means that if I was to draw this piece, and let's try to draw this in orthography first. So that means we have one tapered edge, we have a little bit of this bulging, that's your weight. There is a pipe over here. That pipe extends all the way to the other side. And let's say it comes somewhere till here. That means you have... So see, I'm also drawing the construction lines to figure out where the rest of the product needs to be. So once you have these in place, then life becomes a lot easier, because then all you need to do is join these construction lines to figure out how the shape of your product would look. And the product may look something like that. Okay, and this is your pipe, and this is your pipe. This is where you're holding the piece from. Now, they are saying that you have to cut it such that the frontal part moves away. Now, whether I cut it over here, or I cut it over there, or I cut it over here, except the changes to the pipe, the shape will more or less look the same when looked from this profile, which means, let's say, this profile being from the front view. Okay. Now, keeping that in mind, if I was to look at it from here, I will obviously end up seeing this. So let's say I'm seeing this. Okay. And they are saying that you remove the first half, the frontal half. That means that I'm going to cut it somewhere here. I will cut it along the surface and the thickness of the pipe. Similarly, the thickness over here, and then the surface of the pipe. Which means over there needs to be a wall thickness to the pipe. And over here as well, the wall thickness will be there, because it says A to A. Keeping that in mind, A to A also includes the wall thickness over here and the wall thickness over there, right? The knife is going to obviously touch through this weight of the dumbbell as well as that weight of the dumbbell, which means now when you shade, you are going to shade the wall thickness of the pipe. You will also end up shading this surface of the dumbbell, which got touched by the knife, and the other wall thickness of your pipe, which is on the top side. So that means this is how you end up shading the piece. Now again, I am just doing this freehand to explain to you how to maintain the slope. However, when you are drawing it, make sure that you have a scale. And it might be easier to also carry a 15 centimeter scale, the smaller one and not the longer one, because it's a little easier to manage and to turn it, because the longer the piece obviously means the more effort needs to be put to make it move. So carry both scales when you go for your exam. Carry the steel edge, which is the 30 centimeter one for larger drawings, and carry the smaller one if in case they give you a question related to cross sections. So this is more or less what you end up seeing, which is going to be a cross section. Do keep in mind how these arrows work. So for example, if I look at this piece, now they are saying you have to remove that piece. And what do you end up seeing if there was a line drawn over here? That means if I was to take a piece of paper and place it over here, I will end up seeing the line come here, the line go down vertically all the way till there, then come somewhere till here, climb back up, then again over here, goes down all the way, then goes all the way till here, comes back up, you end up seeing it over here, and it goes down all the way. Yeah, so that means if I was to draw this, it would give me obviously a full base, which is this base. Then it would give me this, it would give me this all the way till there, it would run till here, it would go back, and then I have a longer piece over here, longer piece because these two are not equidistant. As you can see, 60 and 45, therefore that needs to be maintained here as well. Another thing that you will end up seeing is that if you notice, the base holds the rest of the piece, which means the base needs to hold the rest of the piece here as well. Okay, and then you will shade this whole thing as a sloping line which is parallel to each other. So that is how all these questions will follow. These arrows explain which side need to be removed. Sometimes they may end up giving you the arrow going the other way. Don't get a panic attack, because that does not mean that you have to remove that piece, because it's a symmetrical piece. In most probable cases, you will see the same kind of shading on either side. So even if the arrow says that, you know, you need to do this to it, they just want to know what happens when you cut it over here. So whether you remove this part or that part, you should know how it would look within that space. So that's something that you have to keep in mind.